This part 4, we are going to be looking at work, life, and how to balance both. I wanted to say that a bit slowly so that you get it. Because for me, I'm looking forward so much to this conversation. I feel like it's a conversation we should all be having because after learning everything else, how to be productive, how to get yourself to the next level, how to, influence upwards, influence sideways, influence downwards, how to do all of these things, at the end of the day, as a leader, you have to take care of yourself because the people that you work with need you alive, your family needs you alive and healthy, your friends need you alive and healthy. Everything else is meaningless if we lose you. So this topic comes in very handy. It's been a long year. We are less like a month and less than a half to the end of the year. And I think it's very, very timely. For those of you who are like me and you somehow think that work-life balance could be a myth, well, we're going to hear from the people who have managed to get this thing, but also how are they handling? Do they integrate? Is it about just being off work and just really resting? What is it about work-life balance? That's what we are going to hear from these people. And so in today's session, we are going to hear from Coach Jennifer Ocho, and she will share with us how did she learn about work-life balance very early, by the way, and it has helped her on her journey up until now. Guys, see how Coach Jennifer is glowing. You may want to take some notes. Then we are going to hear from Jose Chigundu, and he's going to tell us some flowers for Jose, guys. I see he joined us. He's going to tell us what does work-life balance look like from where he stands. Yeah. Is it that you work and then, boundaries? Don't call me after 5. Don't, don't. Is it that? Or are there habits that you can actually cultivate in the workplace that can help you to balance your work and life? And in this part, there will be so much. We also have a special guest who will be taking us through how we can leverage AI to help us with our work-life balance. Are there things you can allow AI to do for you so that you allow some time for yourself? Yeah, we are going to see all of that in this coming session. And I don't want to take up any more time. After saying that, I would like to hand the mic to Coach Jennifer Ocho to now carry us through this next session. Thank you.
Okay, you've stopped the sharing. I've seen, Madam, you haven't yet signed Joy's certificate. Have you seen? Okay, Dina, are you with us? This is being a very,
very
special.
I'm here.
Okay. So I think I'm just going to get started. How much time do I have so that we manage the time well? Because we started late, we had issues with the network. How much time do I have?
Let's take 15.
Okay, 15. I hope someone will manage that time for us. Anyway, so I wanted us to describe what burnout was, to define it before. I was hoping Jose will do that for us because he's like the person of burnout. But when I Googled and went online, they said something about burnout being a state that is as a result of physical exhaustion, emotional exhaustion, and mental exhaustion. And it's a state where you begin to feel, it's like you're just feeling meh. You're feeling there, like things are not moving, you're not enjoying your work, you're not moving, as in you're despondent. You begin to not feel like yourself because you're exhausted physically, because you're exhausted emotionally, and because you're exhausted mentally. Now, the approach that I'm going to use, as Dina has already said, I am the person of self, of leading yourself and managing yourself. So I'm going to use that approach, and I'm going to use various examples, some mine, some that I have actually observed or learned from watching, because I learned a lot from watching dramas or series. But I'm going to go to the very extreme of where the burnout where the body is now reacting to the burnout, to being in extended burnout, because most of us do not observe ourselves. We do not see what's going on, and then we end up just breaking down, or we break down physically, or we break down in other ways. So before that, I just want to see my picture of burnout. the way that I define burning out is using something called a turnover. I don't know if any of you knows a turnover. We used to call it turnover. Does anyone know what a turnover is? Just hands up. Have you ever seen the metallic thing that has, you know it? Kind of. So
Yes,
for
I
those
know
of
it.
us who are okay, for those of us who are much older, there was a time when there were no candles in Uganda, my dear. There was a time when there were no candles. There was a time when the kerosene lamp, the one that you see in the village that has like glass, that one was for only rich people. Only the rich people had that. So there was a time when most people used turnovers. So it's like a metallic thing that's made. It has a wick made of cloth, and then you pour a kerosene in it, and then you pull the wick up and you light it, and it gives you some sort of light. So for me, the way that I see burnout is you as that turnover. There is oil, you have a wick, and you're able to continue to give light wherever it is that you're able to burn and give light at work. When you go home, you're able to give light without causing smoke and without burning out. So that's the picture I want you to see. I am a lamp. I have oil, I have a wick at work. Am I able to give light without stress? At home, am I able to give light without stress? And what usually happened is you would light the turnover, and at times when it was when you'd have to take time to kind of do maintenance, to cut the wick and to pull it up or to open it up and pour oil. So that's what I want you to see. I am a lamp. I'm a lamp, and I have oil within me that I use to provide light. I have a wick that is used to kind of hold the light. So my job is to make sure that I have oil in my lamp. Give me oil, yes. I have oil in my lamp, and my other job is also to make sure that my wick is long enough to provide light. So that's the picture that I want you to have. So I'm going to talk about the three different types of exhaustion and how they show up and how I learned how to manage them. But as I'm doing all this, I want you to keep asking yourself the question, what do I tell myself in order to suffer? Because that's how I believe that you'll be able to pull yourself out of work life, this whole work life issue, and not being able to balance work and life and ending up burning out. You're sharing a file, Dina?
I just put a picture of a turtle over there in the chat for whoever wants.
Okay, yeah. Go and see a turtle. Okay. So, physical exhaustion, I'm going to start with that one. So, this one, I'm going to tell you a story about myself. And the question that I want you to ask yourself as you listen to this story is, what do you tell yourself to persevere or to suffer or to stretch physically? So, one of my siblings was due to give birth. The person who was delivered is actually here in the call. People are old enough now to be in the call. That's how old we are. So she had her labor was very, very long because it was induced to a few complications. She was in labor, I think, for like 2 days straight. We had a patient at home at the same time. My mom was sick, and I was the one who was taking care of my mom. But because now this person was also due to deliver, I now moved to hospital as other people took care of my mom. So her labor was long. I was alone with her. She did not want anyone else to touch her. I stood for 2 days straight, rubbing back, doing what? I stood for 2 days straight. Finally, she couldn't deliver normally. They had to do an operation. They did the operation. I don't know how they did the epidural. Something went wrong. She got paralyzed for about 5 days. She was paralyzed. In addition to that, the milk refused to come out. So she couldn't breastfeed the baby. So I was in hospital by myself. I was the one taking care, bathe the baby. I was in Zambia hospital, so those ones, they don't really help you that much. Bathe the baby, organize formula to feed the baby, bathe the patient, feed the patient. So I was doing everything by myself. And the thing that I told myself when I was going through this is there is no one else. There is no one else who can help because you have a patient at home. This is all on me. So I had stood for 2 days, labor, the baby came, then I started taking care of everyone. And there was no one else, as in no one else could help me. I'll take care of her, take like an hour to run home, shower, and then come back and then continue taking care of her. And I think it went on for, about 5 days because after operation, she stayed in hospital for about 7 days. But I think it was on the 5th day when my body finally said, we can't take it. And I started convulsions, because I was so exhausted. Because I was so exhausted. I started actually convulsing. I remember the patient looked at me and she broke down because she was like, now who is going to come and help me? But then do you know what? That night, because it was at night when this happened, When I called and told them, you know what, guys, I'm convulsing in hospital and I think it's fatigue, 2 people left their homes to come and actually help. So the thing that I was telling myself, in order to stretch myself and to stress myself physically, was that no one else can help. I am in this alone. It wasn't true. It was a lie. It was a lie that I was telling myself. And I'm using examples that are away from working intentionally, because usually these are the same things that we tell ourselves at work. When a big project comes up and you're starting to do stuff and you're putting in a lot of work, you begin to say, but no one else can do it as good as me. No one else can do it this way. So I want you to ask yourself, what is that thing that you tell yourself in order for you to stretch physically? Yeah, because when you stretch physically, then even when you begin to feel that burnout, you don't notice it and you end up just totally breaking down. And for me, this here was a major lesson in my life, that I am not alone. There are people who are able and willing to help. There are
To
people
help.
who are able and willing to support as long as you ask. I think the only thing for you is to ask for the help. Because at times, especially people who are like either you're the assistant parent at home, the one who has to take care of stuff, or you're a firstborn, or you've taken care of a lot of people, you carry this thing of you're the one who has to do everything by yourself everywhere. And if you never ask people, the people who can help will sit and look at you and watch you as you struggle, watch you as you burn out, watch you as you crash. Because what? You didn't ask them. You didn't ask them for help. So I think the question is, what do you tell yourself in order to suffer physically? What do you tell yourself in order to stretch yourself physically? And then see how you're doing that at work and how you can actually change that. Because this is one of the ways that realizing this is one of the things that helped me to stop stressing myself physically, so that I would not get physically exhausted. I don't really get exhausted that much. Now, the second thing is emotional exhaustion, the things that actually cause burnout, being exhausted emotionally. And this is something that really, I hope I'll remember the thing that I want us to note. Again, what do you tell yourself in order to suffer and to endure mistreatment or emotional stress? What do you tell yourself? Now, this one I'm going to share something from a K-drama. I love K-dramas because they really tell really nice stories. It was a K-drama about a mental hospital. And the hospital was a gentleman who had had an emotional breakdown because he had a boss who was emotionally and verbally abusive. The boss would shout at him, stress him, tell him off. His work was never good enough, throwing things at him, books, whatever it is. But what he kept telling himself is, maybe I'm the one who has a problem. Maybe I'm the one who needs to change. And whatever the boss would tell him, he kept trying to meet this bar that the boss was setting. And he kept failing. But the thing is, as he was telling himself that and trying to bend down and bow before the boss, internally, he was getting emotionally stressed. And then he got emotionally stretched. And then he had a mental and emotional breakdown. And this gentleman had broken down. It is a drama, but it happens in real life. He had broken down. He was in a mental institution. He was no longer working. His family was suffering because he wasn't working. He couldn't work anymore. He had stopped. He couldn't work anymore. Yeah. But the boss who was abusing people was continuing with his abuse. As in, life continued for the boss because he's expressing himself. So I think, again, what I want you to ask yourself is, when you find yourself in this things that stress you emotionally and mentally, especially, what do you tell yourself in order to endure that? I remember what I used to tell myself is, maybe I'm mistaken about the way that this person is behaving. Maybe there's something that I'm not understanding about them. And I would endure people being a little bit mean, because I'm a person who can read people very quickly and very easily, but I'd be like, maybe I'm mistaken. But once I learned that what I read of someone is the truth, I stopped. I began to see them as they are. So the one thing I want you to ask yourself is, what do you tell yourself in order to endure emotional stress and mental stress? And then the second thing that I really want you to pay attention to, at times the attacks are not happening to us. The stress is not coming to us. The boss is mistreating someone else. The boss is attacking someone else. But the thing is, because you watch it, it kind of vexes your soul. It scratches you badly. And despite the fact that you're not the one who is being attacked, it still kind of worries you internally. So that's another thing that you need to check. Actually, for those of us who pray, this is one of the prayers that I make every day. As I'm starting my prayer, just ask God, whatever it is that vexed my soul today, please deliver me from it. Because I realized those things slowly begin to weigh down on you. And you begin to feel like, I don't feel like going to work. Not that you're the one who is facing a tough time, but you're watching your colleagues going through hell. That also affects you. So I want you to also notice that things that vex you as a person, because those things worry you emotionally, and you begin to feel that, what is this place even about? You begin to feel like you're being pulled down. So those are the two main things that I want you to ask. Three main things. What do I tell myself in order to endure suffering physically? What do I tell myself in order to endure suffering emotionally? And what vexes me? What is vexing me? When you come back home, before you close the day, what vexed me today at work? Maybe you had a boss shout at someone and you were like, he didn't have to talk to a person like that. Deal with that. Because when you let it pile up, in the end, it will begin to weigh you down. So ask yourself those three questions. Now, the last thing that I want to talk about is about mental exhaustion. Again, it's just to help you understand that this is about you managing yourself. Work-life balance, especially not allowing yourself to lose your health because of work, not allowing yourself to burn out, is about you managing yourself. It is not about your workload. It is not about what's happening outside you. It's not about you feeling, who said swamped? It's not about you feeling swamped or overwhelmed. It's about how are you dealing with yourself? Because those things will continue. Those things will not change. And if you look around you, there are other people in your place who are doing exactly the same work as you, but they are thriving. When they go home, as in they know how to switch off, they know how to manage themselves. And I want to give another example. This is also like it's not from work, but it's just to show you how you can manage a high stress environment. So this happened when we lost a relative of ours. I was called at night by the person who had lost a spouse and told me the person had passed away. And I left home that night. And I was the one who was in the family. I'm not the women who be in the kitchen. I'm the women who deal with logistics. I am one of those people. And in my family, we are the elders. So we're the ones who handle stuff. There are no elders above us, very, very few. So we're the ones who handle stuff. So I was in the thick of things, managing stuff, making sure that everything went as planned. And as a result, I did not sleep for three days. I kid you not. I did not sleep for 3 days. I put my head down for 1 hour each day, but I would wake up or get up from there. Even my app told me, you did not sleep, because I monitor my sleep. My app would say, no sleep for the 1 hour, no sleep, because I had to handle so many things. As in, it was a very high stress, things being thrown at me. I would have been swamped. You see how people begin to shout at people at funerals and all. But the thing is, one, I prepared my mind that this was going to be tough. It was going to be a high stress. It was going to be tough. I prepared my mind. I knew sleep was going to be a luxury. So I prepared my body for that. We might not be able to sleep. I'm just going to give you some rest. Then I made sure of some things. I made sure I was eating, because at times we forget to eat, and that's what causes us to be stressed. So taking care of your physical, the things that you need to do. And then I said, what can I do to make sure I do not get overwhelmed? I do not feel overwhelmed. Now, because I'm introverted, crowds tend to kind of draw energy from me, pull energy out of me. So what I did was I was intentional about walking away from the crowd and taking a walk away, like 100 meters away, and just stand by myself as I'm making a call or sorting out stuff. It's like I created space for myself, not to feel like my energy was being drawn out. And I was able to manage all the different logistics that I was supposed to manage. I was able to notice when this person of mine was getting overwhelmed and come in and help them, because at times they also wanted me to just be there for them to look at me or to stand with them. I was able to make sure they're not being bullied by people who are saying, now, because you're this, you must mourn this way. I was able to do all that. And I was able to do it without feeling stretched, without feeling burnt out, without losing my cool, without anything, because I had prepared myself. And then I put in place things to help me manage whatever it is that could cause me to burn out, could cause me to feel overwhelmed. That thing of making sure I would eat and then walking away from the crowd so that my energy was not getting sucked out. I would kind of walk away to refresh myself. So the reason why I'm sharing this is just so that you know that just because you're swamped doesn't mean that you have to get burned. and not swamped. Just because there's a lot happening doesn't mean that you have to get swamped or you have to get burnt out or you have to get overwhelmed. It is up to you to put in place measures, to put in place systems that will help you to create that space for yourself internally to continue burning, to keep that candle burning and to keep it burning effectively. So it's up to you to take the breaks, to pour oil into your lamp, to take the breaks, to cut your wick and to pull it up enough so that you can still continue burning and providing light. So I think for me, that is the major, I'm stopping. That is the major share. And the main things I want to leave you with is one, it's not about what's happening on the outside, it's about how you manage yourself. Notice that what it is you tell yourself to be stretched, to allow yourself to stretch, and also notice what vexes you at work and deal with it. That's my share.
Wow. Wow. I'm looking for those things where the big ones have refused. Let me send these ones. But wow. Like, wow. Guys, share, flowers, clap, upload. Coach Jennifer, thank you so much. I am helped. I'll share. I'll go and try these things. I have my question, but I will wait for the minutes for the questions because I know we'll have some few minutes to take some questions. But thank you so much for sharing that with us. And I'm not going to eat into any more time. I see that Jose is on the call. I'm going to invite Jose Chigundu. For those who don't know Jose or are joining us for the very first time, this is our team leader of team leaders. Yeah. So, Jose, you're welcome. Come and share with us on burnout and how do we make sure that we don't sacrifice our lives on the altar of work. Something Coach Jennifer said kind of struck me of preparing your mind when you know it's going to be a high stakes environment, like preparing your mind. There are those instances where at work, like you know very well it's going to be a loaded season or it's going to be a loaded time. And I think it would totally really be helpful to prepare your mind. Sometimes for me, I am the kind of person who will keep working and working and working until you take away the work, like until there is no work to do. That's why if I am not mentally prepared, I don't usually want to start tasks because I know I'll go and go and go and go. So I think it's very, very helpful to prepare your mind because then the things don't catch you and your mind and your emotions unaware so that you now get stressed. And on top of being physically tired, you're also mentally tired and beaten. And my other takeaway is on the people. Yeah. Reading the people and actually responding to them as they are. Yeah. Especially for you whose burnout is largely centered around those difficult people. I'm putting difficult in quotes because in part 3, we found out that you could be the difficult one and you just don't know it. So that's what I'm saying, the difficult people. So if your burnout is really centered around people, maybe you also need to do some work about responding to people as they come. Or even removing yourself from the situation. Did you hear what Coach Jennifer said? Removing yourself from the crowd so that you don't get disturbed. Jose, I am waiting on you. When you have a question for Coach Jennifer. Let me ask mine as other people prepare to ask theirs. Coach Jennifer, I wanted to ask, what about the burnout that's really from work? Like the work is just too much. And you've been working maybe for days, and that's just the nature of the work that you do. It's a lot every day, and every day is a stretched day because there are people who have those kinds of workplaces where it's not a season, it's not a particular day, every day is a stretch. What would you have to say for people like that?
I think I'm going to use the last situation where that mental preparation, because we had people like that in where we worked. The people whose the way that they even had their phones had to remain on, as in one of them had to remain on, as in you can be called. You can be called at night to come into work, as in it's that serious. I remember when I joined the bank, there was a guy who was called back from honeymoon. So he was called back and he was like, but honey, they told him, do you want your job or choose? Choose which one? I said choose. Because his job was, I think it was that tight. He was, I think, the only one who could do something at that time. So I think the first thing is, again, the mental preparation. Prepare yourself that this is the type of job I do. So you're not even going to look at other people and try to be like them. Prepare yourself for that. This is the type of job I'm always going to be swamped. Now the second thing is, I think that I learned, I think after like 2 years, because when I just joined the bank, we all had gas, we were all working until 9 p.m. at night, as in we were working. And then one day we realized the work doesn't get finished. There will always be work. So then we had to decide that, you know what, my work day ends at this time and I'm going to go home. When I come back tomorrow, the work will still find me here. So there are those things that you can do. If your work is that type of work where your work day ends at a certain time and you can go home, then that one actually end the work and go home. But I think the other thing that I want you to ask yourself, this is something I've been asking many people actually. The day that you collapse because you're overwhelmed, the work will continue. Like, by the way, a blip, the work will continue. You might not even be checked on because the work is continuing. So if you can find out how can this work continue if I am not here, then how can I put in place measures to make sure that I have space to make sure that this work continues? How does it continue? Is there someone else who will do the work? Are there other people who are trained who will do the work? Is there someone above me who will do the work? Then how can you either create rosters or something like that? So how can you put in place measures so that you can intentionally take rest? You can intentionally take a break, because if you forcefully take a break, the work will continue. Because at times, again, we tell ourselves that thing of it's up to me. It is not. It is not up to you. It is not up to the other people who can do the work. But I think the final thing is, if there is something where you are the only one who can do something, then it's up to you now to go to the bosses and tell them I need to have a backup or 2 backups. It is up to you to, by the way, I said stress, it is a choice. All of this is a choice. You choose to do the work. You choose to do the work and work like a horse. You choose. You can decide that, no, we need to find a way of splitting up this work. I need to find 2 other people who I can share this work with so that if I am not there, if I need to take a break, they can do the work. So it's up to you to actually create space for yourself. For yourself and for you to breathe. Yeah, I hope does that answer your question? Sort of.
Sort of.
What is the other sort?
I think the other sort is I was going to speak to ask for people who may not necessarily be the ones that define that, okay, that's enough for today.
The ones who don't define. So who is the person who defines?
The boss.
The boss
says we are still pushing.
You're going to have conversations with the boss. I think for me, the main thing is what I want people to take away from work-life balance is that you have to be in charge of yourself. You have to be in charge of yourself. If the boss, until you tell the boss, who was it who told me, there was something, who was it was, I don't know, someone was talking about how it was a boss and someone that was being supervised. And the person was, after years of doing what the boss was throwing at them and everything, finally they stood up, they stood up and they're like, not stood up, but they kind of talked back and said, Banange, I've swamped, I've been doing this, everything you ask me to do, you make me, I do it, I've really been helping you out and all that stuff. And the boss, it was the person who was like a supervisor actually said, you see, but the problem is every time I gave you work, you never ever said you were swamped. You never ever, you never told me that it was too much. So how was I supposed to know? You never ever said this one, perhaps I can do it. It's like you need to have the conversation with your boss and say, you know what, human being, how can we do this better? Because it's affecting me this way. Because if you wait for you to break down like the other guy, someone else will come and do the work. The work will continue, whether you're there or not. So what I want you to do is you manage yourself, you supervise yourself. If the boss keeps giving you work, you can have a chat.
Maybe just share one or two things as a team leader. How do you ensure that you don't sacrifice your health for wealth? I think it's just knowing that you treat your energy as fuel and not as magic. If you treat it as magic, you think it will always appear, then you're in trouble. You have to treat it as fuel, and fuel burns out, or you have to keep adding fuel. You have to keep monitoring your fuel. So as a leader, I think number one, learn the rhythm of your body. Learn how you behave when you're running out of fuel. Learn how your body reacts when you're full of fuel. Monitor yourself and know at what times do I at what times do I go off on a tangent? At what times am I best to do certain things? So personally, don't say, every time at around this time, I don't know what happens. I'm like that. Let that be an indicator. Begin to study your body and know, because your body will indicate when you are tired, your body will show you. It will communicate. The mind will slow down, you will make mistakes, things will pass through the cracks. The body will show. It's just that we don't pay much attention. No one crashes suddenly. All along the body has been indicating, but people don't know the rhythm of their body. People don't study the signals of their body. So you think, today I'm just a bit weak, but we'll push on. Today I don't know. Every Monday I just feel like, we'll see. Study the rhythm of your body, because then you will know when your energy levels are high and when your energy levels are down. Because burnout is necessary. Burnout isn't about time management. I think we need to get that very clear. Burnout is not time management. Burnout is energy management, because what is burning out is not time. What is burning out is energy. So burnout is not time management. Burnout is energy management. I have seen people with very good schedules. When you are here among the Dutch people are very programmed. They have schedules for everything, literally. Like I usually say, even if you want to have a cup of coffee with someone, they will literally pull out their calendar and see, and then ask, okay, how about 3 weeks from now? And I'm like, it's just a cup of coffee. Do we have to wait for 3 weeks? But it's because they have planned out. You see, it is until I came to this country that I realized, hey, every day that calendar thing on the phone is important, because people plan out everything. Otherwise, you may end up either double booking, forgetting appointments, and that is very rude. But even with that high organization, burnout is still very high. Why? Because burnout is not time, it is energy. And so you see, I said, I made a post and said we were taught how to manage time. We were not taught how to manage energy. Those are two different things. We were taught from school, we are taught time management. You have to be early for this, you have to manage time for it, you have to create. So we're taught time management, but no one teaches us about energy management. And so when we're talking about life balance, work-life balance, we're talking about energy management. Because if you don't manage your energy well, even with your well-organized schedule, you will still burn out. So the way to start managing your energy is to know what your energy flow is like. Study your body and know the indicators. When you are tired, at what times of the day are you tired? At what points of the day are you tired? Is it after a particular meeting that you feel you're worn out? Mark that down. Is it in the morning when you look at all the things you have to do and you feel tired before you even get out of bed? Mark that down. Is it late in the evening after? Begin to take note of these things intentionally, because now we are talking about practical things that can help you to avoid burnout. So mark the times of the day when you feel drained, because then your energy levels are low. And so, on top of marking the time, mark the events, mark the activities that cause you to be drained. Is it a meeting? Some people come out of meetings and they are pumped. They're like, let's go, let's do this. Other people come out of meetings and they are slumped. They're like, oh, goodness. So, mark the events also that, get you. Some people in the morning, they're like, yeah, it's time for work. And they're up for it. Others are like, oh, goodness me, again, I have to get to work. Mark events. Mark the events. So mark the times of the day. Mark what events, because then you know how to maneuver things. You know when you're high on energy, because not everyone goes through energy like not everyone goes through the day when you're slumped. unless it is a chronic thing that you need to address. But there are times of the day when your energy levels are high, there are times of the day when your energy levels. So mark those times and then schedule high demanding tasks based on those energy patterns. Even if you work as a team leader, know what time do I have meetings. It's not a routine. It's not, no one casts it in stone that meetings have to be on Monday morning. No one casts that in stone that meetings have to be on a Monday morning. As a team leader, you have the liberty to decide what time do we meet as a team. Let that be not around time, but around energy levels. What time are people active? What time do we then plan meetings accordingly? So plan schedules for the team based on energy levels. So learn your energy levels, learn, and then also learn what spurs your energy levels. Learn what things give you a boost. Some people, it is when they're in their creative space that their energy levels begin to flow. Mark that. Mark that and make sure you make room for those things. Some people, it is when they are talking one on one and they are going through an idea and they are seeing things flowing. That is what gets them excited. Some people, after meeting, what they want is just to have a 5 minute pause and then they are back to themselves. So mark the things that give you energy, and those things that give you energy, do not negotiate them for anything. Make them a must for you. Why? Because we're talking about energy management. So if something energizes you, do not compromise on that thing. As much as it's possible, create room for that thing because it's what replenishes you. Don't keep driving the car until the car breaks down on you. You will know that on this road going home, there's a petrol station here, there's a petrol station there, there's a petrol station there. Just because you are stuck in traffic and the energy gauge is on E, don't pass by a petrol station just because you think, if I get out of the line, I won't have. You will get stuck in the traffic and you won't have fuel, and that will be a longer process also. So don't negotiate the fueling stations of your life. Make sure you are paying attention. Those things that give you energy, prioritize them, have them on your schedule. And as a leader, have them on your schedule where they are visible. Let the team also see that and let the team also implement that. As a leader, encourage your team to have these moments because if as a leader you're full of energy and your team is not, you're in trouble. They will drag you down. So they say what you do for yourself, do for the team as well. So encourage the team to have moments intentionally. Ask them. I was here, and the leader before me used to ask also Joseph, have you done this? Have you done intentionally just to make sure that my energy levels are high? So know what energizes your team. Encourage them to have those things intentionally on their schedule as well, because that is helpful for you. I can see we're running out of time, but I will just add what can I add? Because there are so many things to add. But maybe, okay, protect your non-negotiables, which is the things that energize you. Know your energy levels, know the activities that drain you, see how to schedule them around high energy levels of your day, because some things you can't avoid them, you have to do them. But also understand one of the things that causes us to burn out is overthinking. That's one of the things that causes people to burn out. Their minds don't rest. And as a result, their energies are depleted. Because a tired mind, even if you are physically fit, if the mind is tired, it will flow through the rest of the body. So some people, the reason why they burn out is their minds can't stop thinking. Their minds are all over the place, all over the place. And one thing I usually ask such people to do is journal. That will help you a lot. You see, we have journals just generally for life. Have what I call an energy journal. Have an energy journal. That energy journal will remember when you said you need to take note of the times of the day when your energy levels are high and when they are low. That goes into the energy journal. When you notice what things energize you, what things drain you, that goes into the energy journal. But also in the energy journal, have the thoughts that you capture, because what we want to do is to create space here so that the rest of the body can rest. So write down those thoughts that keep running after in your head. Write them down. When you write them down, you realize, oh, okay, I've taken note of that. Every time it comes up, you're like, no, I took note of it. So you give your brain permission to rest. Also, as a leader, set decision-making times, because this is important. The reason why some things keep flowing through your head is because you have to keep thinking about them. But when you say, concerning this matter, I will decide on Friday. For the rest of the week, you have given yourself, your brain, permission to rest concerning that matter, because you know, I will decide on that matter on Friday. Every time it comes up, you're like, no, I decided that. So you are giving your brain permission to rest. You are freeing your brain. These are practical things. That's why an energy diary is key, because you record in the diary, I said I would make a decision on this matter on this day. So that you're keeping time, you're keeping account of things. You're not being lazy, but you're keeping record of things and allowing your brain to rest. And I will conclude probably with this as a leader. Have energy, have those, what we call those routines that signal to your body that the day has ended. Because some people's brain never stops. Even when they get home, their minds are still running. So when before you enter the house, breathe just 5 times and let your body know, when I breathe 5 times, it means the day has ended. I'm giving permission to my brain to rest concerning work matters. It's those small rituals. Those after a meeting, breathe 3 times, 4 times, 5 minutes. I mean, 10, maybe 20 or 30 seconds. Let your brain know, okay, the meeting has ended. Let us calm down the high energy levels that have been in the meeting. So build those rituals. They are small rituals, but they are very helpful. I think that's the best I can do with the time I have. I hope that is helpful and practical.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow. People, please share. Share your claps, share your shout outs for Jose. Thank you for using the few minutes that you had to share that with us. And I just want to put it out for whoever feels like you wanted more, that Jose is always sharing on his page, on his YouTube. There are videos up there on how you can protect your energy, how you can rejuvenate, what can you do to make sure you don't find yourself in that situation where you have sacrificed your life on the altar of work. Thank you for participating, and we hope to have you join us even for this part 4. I promise it's going to be totally worth it, because the lineup is very interesting. And like I said, for me, I'm also here to learn for this particular topic. I'm also here to learn, because many of us just really talk about work-life balance, but we don't really exercise it. So stay with us, tap your friends, tap your colleagues, and let's see each other again on Tuesday next week at exactly 1 p.m. East African time. Bye.